Let's give my great friend, Reverend Mark Creech, a round of applause. Thank you for your leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Rustin, President of the North Carolina Family Policy Council, and I am delighted to see you all here today. Bless you. Friends, we are here to celebrate and to thank our state leaders for the passage of North Carolina's new bathroom safety and privacy law. Thank you. The governor's office is here. The legislature is a couple blocks down. Let's speak loud enough so they can all hear us. As Reverend Creech said, we all know this bill would never have been necessary if 7 members of the Charlotte City Council had not grossly exceeded their authority and passed a set of highly controversial and radical ordinance changes in February. As you know, these changes were scheduled to go into effect on April 1st and would have allowed men to enter women's restrooms, locker rooms, shower facilities across the city of Charlotte, putting women, children, the elderly, and others at great risk of personal privacy violations, unwarranted exposure to individuals of the opposite sex, and even sexual assault. Just 3 weeks ago today, we stood in this place and urged our state leaders to act. And act they did. On April 23rd, our General Assembly passed House Bill 2, and Governor Pat McCrory signed this bill into law that very evening. Not only does this bill establish common sense statewide bathroom privacy and safety policies, but it also codified existing non-discrimination policies regarding public accommodation and employment, which apply equally to all citizens of this state, which essentially mirror the federal law and which are incidentally pro-business. So why in the world, if you've been listening to the media, would you be led to believe that something entirely different had happened in North Carolina? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because national activist lobbying groups like the Human Rights Campaign have come into our state and have been orchestrating an aggressive smear campaign to attack our courageous state leaders and spread information and, frankly, outright lies about House Bill 2. And we've seen them do this in other states as well. And if that were not enough, the media and a handful of highly placed corporate allies have been complicit in their efforts. You see, each year the Human Rights Campaign produces what it calls the Corporate Equality Index, which is used to rate America's largest corporations and law firms on their adoption of pro-LGBT policies and benefits, their sponsorship of LGBT-friendly TV advertising and events like gay pride parades, and their engagement, and I quote, in public support for LGBT equality under the law through local, state, or federal legislation and initiatives. And friends, let me tell you, if you don't give in to their coercive tactics and abide by their extremely aggressive and ever-growing list of demands, they will attack you, vilify you, and even organize a boycott against you. Does any of this sound familiar? Yes. Absolutely it does. And this is exactly what we've seen in North Carolina. While these activist groups would like us to believe that the publicized opposition to House Bill 2 is a spontaneous uprising of indignation from the business community, it's actually part of a carefully manufactured campaign by the HRC and its network of allies. This explains why the handful of business representatives who have come out in opposition to House Bill 2 clearly have not read the bill and are simply parroting over and over again the talking points of groups like the Human Rights Campaign. Unfortunately, this illegitimate smear campaign continues even today. And that's why it is so important that you are here and that we support and defend our heroic state leaders and say thank you for standing for privacy, for safety, for dignity, and for the truth. So please join me as I recognize and thank these courageous state lawmakers. To the bill's primary sponsor in the North Carolina House of Representatives, Representative Dan Bishop, we say thank you. To the Speaker of the North Carolina House, Tim Moore, we say thank you. Let's say it loud enough so they can hear. To the bill's primary sponsor in the North Carolina Senate, Senator Buck Newton, we say thank you. To Senate Leader President Pro Tem Phil Berger, we say thank you. To the 114 members of the North Carolina General Assembly who voted for this critically important bill, we say thank you. To the Lieutenant Governor Dan Forrest, who has fearlessly defended this bill, we say thank you. And finally, to Governor Pat McCrory, who signed House Bill 2 into law and who has valiantly stood firm in the face of this unwarranted attack, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you to each one of you for being here today. God bless you.